smell of burning plastic in the morning. Welcome to our painting challenge. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I got up really ridiculously early. Cameron isn't feeling too well, so I'm not sure if he's going to do this, but I've got a lot of models that need kind of a bit of love and attention. It's a painting challenge like this, and he's sit behind her. Painting challenge like this is a great opportunity to try and get on top of your models. I think, as we've talked before, you can collect models, you can have them undercoated, and it actually takes years and years and years to get around to actually doing anything with them. So an intense period, putting aside an entire day, saying, look, I want to try and get through as much as I can, is a great opportunity. I'm going to take this off. Yeah. What I'm going to be working on today is trying to finish off my Forge Father. The word finish off, as I've said many times before, is a bit of an odd one for any wargamer, because no army is ever finished. As soon as you think you're finished, you go into a shop and you go, oh, that's new, I quite like that. Can I get one of those, please? You're never done. It's never done. I'd like to get my Forge Father, which is we're going to be using a substitute Space Marine army to supplement the other Space Marine armies that we have later in the year. I also want to try and get some of my orcs done. And one of the reasons I want to finish off my orcs is that then I've got some Dark Elder that I'm trying to get on top of as well. So this is like it's like a queuing system. I really want to do the Dark Elder things. Well, what I don't want to do is I don't want to abandon what I've done so far on the Dark Elder, or leave the Forge Fathers half finished, especially when we really are so close to being finished. So that's my objective, and I might even try and do some scenery as well. We shall see. Anyway, we've got a great event here called Round the Bays tomorrow. So we've only got 12 hours to do it. We can't spend like a full 24 hours. I'm too old. Look at all these grey hairs. I'm too old for doing this 24-hour don't go to sleep. Partly because, you know, I've got a knife. If there's anything to do with cutting, I'm not the best at cutting at the best of times without kind of needing these things, plasters. So no, we don't do the 20. No. I need my sleep. I've got coffee. I've got plastic glue. I'm good to go. I love the Marine Corps, the Space Marine Corps. Catch you later. Oh, it's now 12 o'clock. Camera's not well enough to do this today, but I've continued on. I'll just show you what I've managed. It's not going particularly well. It's quite slow. I'm assembling. If you saw my video yesterday, you saw that I was showing about painting on the sprue, and basically I'm assembling them together. Finding it really tricky to assemble, actually. I'm a bit disappointed. I've originally used, where is it? I've used a cement, plastic cement on them, and basically it's not sticking. So now I'm moving on to super glue, which I'm just about exhausted, to try and hold them together, which never really pleased about, because it kind of, I end up sticking my fingers together, and that's happened a few times. A lot of things are assembled, just kind of taking slower than I'd expected, which is a bit annoying. But, you know, gotta be done. But that's so far. Well, we're now at about 6 o'clock. Things are going okay, I suppose. I just feel at the minute my painting challenge has become more of an assembly challenge. Just like the past few hours has just been assemble. I don't know if I'm even going to get these, what you see in front of you, finished by close of play today. But the work's got to be done. This is stuff that needs to be done, otherwise it never gets done. But oh my god, I'm so tired. And it's only 6 o'clock. got helped by the fact that we all kind of woke up really early this morning, about 6 o'clock or something. Not intentionally, just kind of crazy stuff was going on outside. I went, oh, can't get to bed now. And I'm at my coffee limit at the minute, where so if I have another coffee, it'll just put me out. But it's getting done. That's the most important. And I am listening on this thing, my little mobile phone, to Lord of the Rings on Audible, which is pretty cool. So it's a red version of it. Going through the Two Towers at the minute. It's kind of fun. At least I'm learning as I'm painting. Okay, more to come. Hiya. Well, it's the end of today. It's 11 o'clock. I'm deciding I'm going to continue with this tomorrow when I get spare time. I won't be able to put so much, but quite good progress was made. But I'd really like to be saying I'm finished now, but I'm not. Let's see where I am though. It's if I just. Yeah, you can see that most of my models are now pretty painted. Only problem is the detailing it needs a bit more work on the detailing. This is what takes time, guys. I mean, what I won't do is I won't pretend that I am like the world's best painter. I am not. I've got a lot better over the last 5 years. At applying things like dry brushing and washes, and that makes a huge difference. It kind of makes a model look a little bit more worn. When you go to tournament, the very best that I manage almost always is kind of shamed by some people that kind of, I've seen people before that have been able to kind of like paint a kind of stained glass window effect on an Eldorado, and you're like, wowzers, at Elder Falcon here. And it's like amazing. And meanwhile, there's what I can do. I can do detail quite well. As the guy at our local games workshop does point out, though, you know, it can take a lot. You know, there's people that can put so much detail on a single figure and can take literally 3 hours just doing a figure. Now, if you're trying to collect build a 30 to 50 figure army, which is about quite a reasonable size. If you're going to put that much detail in, you're never going to get finished. You're never going to really get an army that you want to play. And the bottom line is, well, to be honest, I say the bottom line is you want a playable army, but some people don't. Some people are just happy collecting the models, assembling the models, and having fun, and I quite enjoy it myself. I'm going to turn that light off because hey, isn't that better? That's my light there. That kind of it's giving me an irradiated glow. Some people just like to build models. You know, it's a whole hobby in itself. But we're looking at actually to assemble an army so that we can actually play that army. So we've got a slightly different focus onto it. So you want models that you're kind of semi-proud of. They look decent. Look playable, This is kind of the distance you usually play your models from, yeah. And probably actually, as they are, that's quite good enough. You very rarely do get very close in to any model. It's about putting a unit out and going, hey, this looks quite cool. I have to show you this though. I'm absolutely loving this. It's a little dwarf drill. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I just love it. I don't know if I'm going to use it or is what, but it's just boss. And these guys came with a Forge Father starter set. What I really quite liked about these, I'm just going to have to get them lit, is. Yeah, let's zoom in on one. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. And every one of them's got very different, very different. And they've almost got their own little personality to them. And I really like that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of how in The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, The dwarfs, Keely, Feely, all of them have their own kind of unique look, and rather than the kind of regimented look that you get with, you know, because in Lord of the Rings you get to see Gimli, and in fact if you see the battle in the Battle of the Five Armies, pretty much all of Dane's men look exactly like Gimli. You know, it's the uniform. The pack of adventurers that go out with Bilbo in the film, they're very individualistic, and they've got a unique look. And I don't think Tolkien didn't set most of that out. But when you're creating an army, it's kind of nice to have some units that stand out. You know, units, kind of individual models, so that it doesn't kind of look too standardised. Some of the older Games Workshop models that I've got, and I have mucked around with a bit, they're all like in a standard pose. And you put one rank upon rank of them, and you look at them and you go, yeah, it's a bit like you've carbon copied everything. Modern Games Workshop products, for instance, they allow much more posability of each individual figure, so that you don't really get two figures that look identical. One of the problems with the Mantic figures that I'm using at the minute is some of them can look a bit identical. What I like about the Dead Zone pack is that you get a bunch. It's almost like a band of, I don't want to say brothers, a band of desperados, a band of outlaws or something. They each look a little bit different. Each one looks a bit different to the next, which is kind of cool. But you only get in total in the 45 of the pack, you get about 12 figures. Yeah. Yeah. So, but they're kind of like, they're not a unit. They're more like the Magnificent Seven, a mixed bunch of people that have got different abilities and stuff. I'm still trying to get our Dead Zone units kind of sorted, so that I can persuade Cameron to do a game, and I really want to get up to play a game, because it seems a really good game. Anyway, so we're going to continue with that. If I finish that, what I'll be doing next is I'll be doing washes, a bit of dry brushing, and hopefully I'll throw a little bit in just further on into this video to cover that, and as well as kind of getting them based, putting the chips on. As you can tell, I'm a bit knackered. It's been a long day. Been quite good though. Two Towers. If you know how the book actually works a bit different to the film, in the fact that the Two Towers Lord of the Rings is two books, book 3 and book 4. Yeah, each book is subdivided, if you've never read it. But if you've seen the Lord of the Rings Two Towers film, you know that there's that kind of Aragorn's going off and doing something, and then Frodo's doing something. But actually what happens in the book is all the Helm's Deep thing is in book 3. And then all the Frodo, Sam and Smeagol stuff is in book 4, so it's all completely different. So that's what I've been listening to. Kind of good. It took me. I started reading Lord of the Rings because it's one of those books that everyone says, "Oh, you absolutely must read." And obviously, when I was a kid, there was this. They introduced Ralph Bakski's animated version of Lord of the Rings, and he released part 1, but then couldn't get funding for part 2, so it never finished. So I tried, everyone said, "Oh, if you're into fantasy, you've got to read Lord of the Rings," and I found it a very difficult book to read. I started it when I was about 14 or 15, put it down, and I kept reading it again every couple of years, and then putting it down. Finally finished it when I was 32. Took a long time to read. So I started it again in December on Audible, and as I'm painting and doing things and listening to it, and I'm already deep into book 2, so I'm this might just take a year instead of like 15 years this time. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm tired, and I will catch you later on in this video, and we'll see what updates there are. Catch you later. Okay, I've got to the point now where most of the figures have been painted in the colours. I tend to use a bit of dry brushing of lead bolter, which is a kind of like dirty steel for most of my armoured units. So what it needs now is it needs a bit of a wash applied, and what I like to do is I like to basically keep a vat of wash, and I just literally just kind of like just throw them in, turn them around a bit, and pull them out. Ooh, this is pulled out with some other stuff, and just put them somewhere. I tend to put them under a lamp like this, all the way up there to dry. That makes my life a little easier. Okay, my figures are looking quite nice there. You can see some more of them in the background. I've obviously painted them the different colour scheme, which is they use brown, well mainly green, brown boots, gold areas, and some lead bolter. I give them a dry brush of like silver to kind of make it look like to help define the edges a bit more. Put it back in the middle. We've just done the dark wash that you've seen, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of dry brush a bit to try and give them a bit of a, it kind of makes them look a bit muddy. So this is one that I've done previously, and it just kind of helps to make it look a bit tarnished and worn. You know, these are dwarves after all that kind of come through the earth. So I kind of like doing that. Start with your Cittal large drying brush that we've been looking at before. Basically, what you do is you just need to very gently put some on here. And what I tend to do, and you'll notice this is why so many of the edges are like they do. So I just kind of go. I don't think I got any on there at all at the time. Talk about doing it too gently. And then you just kind of, so you've got, you can see that's painting now, but if I go there, there's not much left. In fact, if I put it on my hand, you might notice, yeah, I tend to wipe off some excess onto my hand. Not great idea when you're using brown. And then just kind of go over ever so gently like that. Kind of helps kind of give it a bit of a, particularly on the guns as well. I love it. It kind of gives it that kind of, this gun's been fired repeatedly and dragged through the earth. Cool. And we're just going to do that. There you go, looking a little more earthed. Going to kind of repeat that on all the other ones. Cool, catch you later. Okay, that's looking quite nice and pretty playable now. One last thing to do to move it from something like that to something like this. If we have it forward, looking forward, that's so much better, is what's called basing. And that's the process about putting this kind of fine sand on there. It's my thumbnails in focus. Let's try that again. No, it doesn't want to be. Hey, that's all these little particulates on here. To get those on there, what you use is you use something like this, which is a scenic glue. And what I like to do is I like to pretty much put it on something like that. Take a very old toothbrush, painting brush, kind of put some on, and then pretty much paint it on. Just like this. big part of this, what I've been doing today, has just been like putting the wash on, waiting for it to dry. This takes about does take an hour to paint this, but once you've got all this on it, it takes about 24 hours, about an hour to glue, and then 24 hours to really kind of be finalised, so that what's left on it isn't going to. Oh, I keep thinking I'm on camera. No, I'm not. Hard to actually do this and do that, but yeah, you can see. Well, you'll be able to see now. Got a kind of nice layer around there. It doesn't have to be particularly even. I can be a bit obsessive about trying to get it even, but not really that important. Try and make sure there's no gaps. This all looks pretty good. Just a tiny bit there, Mike. It's a bit too cool. So that's all got PVA glue, and what you do now is you dunk it. I have these like kitty litter trays for all my models, and all I do is I kind of scoop it in. As you can see, it's all stuck pretty well. So, and I just leave those to dry. I've got to do that 24 more times. So after all that, this is what done looks like. It's a weird experience. So that took most of a full day, and then a little bit over into today to apply things like the washes and the dry brushing, but kind of really broke its back yesterday. What I got really stuck in with these guys, and I think they look absolutely fantastic, but assembling them was a real pain at times. Oh, it hurt so much. And you get to a point where you're just doing all this and you feel like you're going a little bit mad and a little bit nuts. But at the end you go, that was so worth it, because they look so cool and I just want to play a game. We're going to be using these as substitutes for a Space Marine faction. However, as I've said, I am really keen on Warpath. Warpath, I think, is an amazing game. Dead Zone's pretty good as well. But there's something about Warpath that really appeals to me, and I hope we'll do a little bit in future about doing, you know, which should you go down? Should you go down the Warpath route, or should you go down the Warhammer route? There's pros and cons for both. I mean, the bottom line is if there's what's the most active in your area. We've bought some extra Warpath stuff that kind of like doubles as some Warhammer stuff. Like for instance, the orcs that I've been using in the last few games are actually a mixture of Warhammer orcs and Marauder. Warpath Marauders, so I can use them in like the game in a way, really. Obviously, if it was in a tournament, things wouldn't be. There would be people that wouldn't be too pleased to see them. I have sneaked the odd model through actually that people just don't notice, because let's face it, you tend to look at an army like this, and as long as it generally looks right, nobody tends to pay close attention. That's a vehicle I've spoken about previously. Basically, I know I needed some kind of super tank, and I went, a bit crazy, and this is it's based on an Israeli chassis, and I've kind of modified it. But I kind of like showing an army next to things. All in told, how many have I done? Count, Michael, count. 16. About 26 models in total. And that's pretty good. I mean, if you're new into the hobby, if you've got 30 models in most things, particularly anything that's like a tough Space Marine type thing, which tends to be a bit of elite. If you've got 30, if you've assembled 30 odd models, that's a big bit of a kind of a medium-sized army. yeah, if you've got somewhere between 30 and 50, yeah, most people have about 30 to 50 models. Obviously, figures are one thing, and having big tanks is a different thing. And I have to say, that's finally done. I absolutely love this drill. It's like some kind of heavy weapon / drill thing for the Forge Fathers. It's just fantastic. I've really absolutely enjoyed putting these together. I just love dwarves. I absolutely adore dwarves, and it just kicks me in the nuts that Games Workshop got rid of the dwarves. I have actually thought really strongly about collecting fantasy and potentially doing Kings of War, which I know Mantic does, because they do dwarves. Dwarf armies are cool. Dwarves are really cool. I think there might be a future video that we're going to do, which is basically me and Cameron saying, I reckon that dwarves are the baddest ass. They are the best things. I can't stand elves. Cameron thinks elves are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I disagree. I think basically dwarves are pretty cool. When I've done role-playing games, I've role-played games as dwarves over elves. I don't think I've ever done elves. Elves kind of annoy me. They're a bit up themselves a little bit. Anyway, so hopefully you found that a little bit enjoyable. A few tips if you're really new to the hobby. You'll have seen some things like dry brushing and washes. Basically, I should have mentioned washes kind of penetrate into the details of a model. So, for instance, if you paint your gun as silver, and then you kind of put a wash in it, kind of gives it exposes the detail nicely. You can see some of that there. That you can see there's a darker bit on all the details of the gun, which it looks really good. Gives it high definition. Anyway, that's me signing off. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe.